Hello, I'm Michael Webrow, and in this quick video I'm going to talk to you about download tasks. So download tasks are a bit more complicated than simple data tasks. Typically they're for bigger things, so when we're talking about files, these will usually be images or videos or audio files that are larger. Frequently what we want to do with these is also track the progress. So we can make use of delegate methods here. So again, a delegation pattern, we can be notified of the progress of downloads in progress. And the delegate for URL session, what this looks like is, or some of the methods that we would care about, are download task did write data. Again, like the pattern we've seen a few times, the URL session delegate passes the particular URL session, so you can tell which URL session is performing this. You also get the particular download task that triggered this delegate call, and then we found out that it did write some data. We get told the bytes that were written, the total that of bytes that have been written, and the total bytes that are expected to write based on the response that told us the file size at the beginning. So that's progress updates. If we want to know when it succeeded, then there's another delegate method. Again, it gives you the session, the download task, and the particular delegate method is did finish downloading to, and you get a URL, which is the location that it wrote the file to. So, in order to utilize this, you want to make sure your class adopts two protocols, URL session task delegate and URL session download delegate. Here's an example of us doing that. You can see them both listed here so that the class adopts them. And this is us creating a new background URL session configuration. We give it a particular identifier. We create a session using this configuration. So this is different than where we used the shared session in the past. And as part of creating a session, we both give it the configuration, which is on the line above, but the key thing here is we give it a delegate. So we tell it a class that we want to be a delegate for this particular URL session. As part of this, we tell it a delegate queue, so this can be performed and the delegate calls can be made on different threads. So we won't spend time talking about that right now, but we can talk more about that in future weeks. Here's a URL. We create a download task as before, giving it a URL. In this case, we don't need to give it a completion handler. We're going to effectively handle a completion via these delegate calls, and we tell the task to resume. What we can expect to happen is we get calls, multiple calls to the URL session download task did write data method, and you could do something like calculate a progress value, and you could use this to populate some kind of slider or progress view or whatever you wanted. And then we would receive one call to this did finish downloading to, and then you can access the data of this if it's an image file, and then if this is performed on a background queue and you need to update the UI, we always need to make UI changes on the main thread. So the pattern to do this is you just take a bit of code that you want to run, in this case taking this data, turning it into a UI image and setting as the image on an image view, and you ask that to be performed on the main thread. So we do that with this pattern where we say dispatch queue main async, and we give it a block, and it will perform that on the main thread. Okay, thanks for watching.